Tammy from Orlando. I'm so excited to be here as part of this town hall. And this year we were able to continue having our meetings on Zoom, and I've been able to facilitate meetings for those in recovery and family and friends. So let's have a happy holidays and keep on helping people.
Hi, everybody. I'm Dennis. I'm so glad to be here. So glad to see all of you. And SMART has made such an impact in my life, and I want it for everybody. So happy holidays. I'm glad to see you, and let's do this.
Hi, I'm Sandy Dixon, and I live outside Atlanta in a community called Cumming, Georgia. I have been facilitating family and friends for about 4 years, and I have literally seen lives change within 3-4 months of people attending and actually applying the tools. So welcome everybody to the conference. I'm excited that we're here together and that we can talk about SMART and all the aspects of it and what it's doing for people around the world.
My name is Abdul. I'm a facilitator here in Seattle, Washington. I've been facilitating for about a year. I'm glad to be part of this town hall. I've been facilitating for about a year, and especially this year, SMART has, given me a purpose in life. It really has helped my recovery a lot, and I've seen the types of people that come to the meetings and how the impact I've made with them. So I'm really glad to be here.
Hi, everyone. And I'm so happy to be here at the town hall meeting. I'm Loretta. I'm in Atlanta, Georgia, and I'm a facilitator on Smart Recovery Online. I facilitate a women's meeting every Saturday morning. And I think for SMART, for me, what I am so happy that SMART has accomplished this year is becoming the inclusive group that it has become. And I've just seen that grow, and I'm so proud to be a part of that growth. So thank you so much, and welcome to the town hall meeting, and I hope we all have a great one.
Hello, my name is Stefan Neff. I'm from Vancouver, British Columbia, and so welcome to the town hall meeting. I run 4 meetings a week, and it's been impacting individuals' lives around my area. So also too is I've got the True Connection through the Corrections of Canada. It's in every facility across Canada. I'm super excited. I'm looking forward to 2022. I'm super grateful for Smart Recovery and all what they've done. What I've learned is it's not only helping individuals with addictions, it's helping with relationships, financial, and much, much more. Reconnecting with family members with Smart Recovery in my community. It's just been phenomenal. So I look forward to 2022. Everybody have a fantastic day. And I love you all.
Hi, this is Donna. I'm coming to you from the DC metro area in Maryland. I've been with Smart Recovery since 2017. I am looking forward to a great 2022, and I'm looking forward to a great town hall meeting with everybody here. Thank you.
I just love Smart Recovery. It's been a godsend for me since coming out of a treatment center 18 months ago. I just celebrated my 18 month. And I'm looking so much forward to 2022 and what SMART's going to bring, and also looking forward to Smart Recovery Canada coming on board in the next year and a half. So I'm really, really excited for that. From Canada to you, welcome to the town hall.
Hello, everybody. My name is Crystal in Orlando, Florida, and I am so excited to be part of the Smart Recovery Town Hall. We're killing it in Orlando, working hard, and looking forward to another fantastic year of growth and success.
Hey, hello to everyone out there in Smartland. This is Rick in Henderson, Nevada. That's Las Vegas for most of you. We're really excited about Smart Recovery here in Las Vegas. Pandemic, schmandemic, we are rocking and rolling. In 2021, we went from 1 public meeting among a population of 2 million to now having 5 public meetings going on. We're in 5 treatment centers with more in the pipeline. We've got family and friends going. We've got teens. We've got vets. We're in the jails. We're in the courts. The sky's the limit. We're just so excited about Smart Recovery and bringing the program to people who are just hungry for the idea of having power and being in control of their own recovery.
And now, live from Smart Recovery's national office in Mentor, Ohio, here is Smart's Executive Director, Mark Ruth.
First and foremost, I wanted to say thanks to all of you for joining us today. The emotional side of listening to the captured videos, and I go back to 2018 when I joined first, and I listened to people tell me their stories. It gives us all energy in our national office when we hear from a lot of our volunteers, whether it's by video, by letters that we receive, by emails, et cetera. You literally are the heart and soul of SMART, and we couldn't do what we do without you. So thank you so much. Also, I want to say thanks to Ted for the work to capture those individuals, to share with them, and for them to go on camera with us is also very, very nice. So thank you all for that early start of energy. We have a lot to go through today, and I just want to say thank you to the community for all that you support that you give to our staff, to our board of directors, and the work that you do on behalf of our mission, because we couldn't, again, do what we do without you. If we can go to our agenda very quickly, we're going to do about a 30 to 40 minute presentation of information. We've listened to a lot of the information that you provided in your registrations. We hope that we've covered a lot of that information in our presentations. You're going to hear from a number of our individuals on our teams about the various departments and their work. But if we miss something, I want you to don't be uncomfortable in sending a chat question in. And even if we don't get to it today, we will get to it with a FAQ kind of a follow-up. So we want to hear from you. As always, throughout the year, we want to hear from you all the time. We will be going through a mix of topics: organizational growth, financial growth. Again, our goal on these meetings is to impart information to you, to be able to speak to you. But we want that to be an open exchange of information and questions. So yes, we're going to deliver that information, but we also want that opportunity to speak to you. So with that in mind, I think you're going to go through a number of our departments and individuals. Melina and Molly will be speaking on our meetings, volunteer and SROL. Mike Hooper and Jessica will speak on our outreach. Christy will cover some of our training initiatives and challenges. Sean is also going to speak to us about information systems. And then Anna Marie, Ted will be working on our Marcom. A lot of these things will take a little time to develop. There's a lot of slides, but I hope you bear with us as we go through our material as fast as we can. In my transition with our board president, Bill Greer, I wanted to first comment on my working relationship with Bill. I've had the direct pleasure of working with Bill as board president for 3 years. And with his background in communications, with his background in nonprofits, and his leadership and his style, it has been a pleasure to work with him and through the board of directors in us doing what we can do to support these strategic initiatives that the board adopts and hands down to us to deliver. So with that in mind, Bill, you're up, and thank you.
Thank you, Mark. Yes, indeed, we're all in this together. It's been a very challenging year, but a year that's enabled us to help each other in many ways, staff, volunteers, and others who support us. I'd like to begin with, on behalf of the Smart Recovery Board, offering a heartfelt thanks to all the volunteers for the life-saving work that you do. And you are saving lives in one of the most severe problems or epidemics we've ever faced. Just over the past 12 months, you probably heard the news that 100,000 lives have been lost to drug overdoses alone, in most cases caused by opioids. People are struggling with addiction and need our help more than ever during this ongoing COVID pandemic. And you are delivering through your meetings and through your energy and commitment. I love the comment from the gentleman from Las Vegas, pandemic, schlamdemic. I think that shows our resilience, our strength, our humor, and supporting those with addiction and their families and friends during these difficult times. Through SMART, we deliver self-empowering help, stigma-free help, evidence-based help, and stalwart help from a compassionate community of care. I think as we look at the opioid epidemic in particular, it's important to emphasize that we welcome those who are using medicines as part of their recovery process. They are welcome at our meetings without any stigma attached to that. I ran across a new term for what was formerly called medication-assisted treatment. I think we should be calling it medication-assisted recovery, because that's really what it's all about. So they can use these medications so they can focus on the ways they need to change their behavior in their lives to fully recover from opioid addiction and build a new life. I think it's important to remember how SMART is an extremely powerful program. I think that explains how we've been endured for more than a quarter century, how we combine the best science for treating addiction with the practical experience of those who've recovered from addiction. I think part of that is a partnership that SMART has between professionals and peers. I think there's no other mutual aid model that has that combination or has that kind of program to help people recover. And I think that's what makes SMART especially effective and will serve us well going forward as we continue to grow. I'd like to emphasize that we're working to help you in every way possible, and we appreciate everything that you do. We're working on many new programs, many new tools to support you even more. I think you'll learn a lot more about that in this town hall. I would encourage any volunteers who haven't already or talk to your friends to please consider taking the training because we need more volunteers. You'll see that in fact we have more meetings now than volunteers, which explains why people like Stephen Neff have to do 4 meetings. I appreciate that, but we want our volunteers to have the help they need, to have people that they can rely on as backup and make their lives balanced as they try to help balance the lives of other people through the help of our program. I think part of the importance of recovery, for particularly those who are recovering from addiction, is if you become a volunteer, if you facilitate meetings, that can help your own recovery, as I've experienced personally, and give you that new life that you want as you're helping others build lives for themselves. So we want to help a lot more people, and we want you to reach out to anyone who can help and encourage them to join this effort. We're making a huge difference already. I think in the years to come, we can make an even greater difference as we help end this addiction epidemic once and for all. Obviously, that's going to take a lot of work, but thank you for everything you do and will be doing in the years to come. I think Mark's muted, so.
Yeah, thank you, Bill. Again, in our progression here, I wanted to just kind of take us back a little bit to when I started in 2018, and it was in September at the conference. But this was, in fact, our 2018 organization chart when I started on my SMART journey, which has been like almost like light speed of sound fast. But it's gone very well, and I've enjoyed it. But we were at 6 people plus myself, and that was really where we started. And these are wonderful people that started and have been working with SMART for many years. If we could show the next slide, this is not meant to give you eyesore, but it's busy because we have grown, and literally that growth came from a combination of recognition of what SMART recovery needs to support its community and to support the various areas that it takes to grow the organization to achieve its potential. And everything that's in red is somewhat of a department. I would say that I'm not going to try to read all of this to you, but what I want you to see was we went from 6, 7 people to now well over 17. And with our contractors and our sources, we are easily in that 25 to 35 range. The point is we've grown to give support to the community. You'll see meetings in volunteer department. You'll see a fundraising and relationship development. Gold boxes aren't there yet. There are opportunities. Green boxes are. So the point is we are trying to recognize what it takes to support not only our volunteers, not only our meetings, but our financial sustainability, our training, our development of our marketing and communications, all of this. So, and then if I could just go to the last slide, just very briefly, is we also know that there's a future, and that's going to come when we grow to a next, where we receive a $2 million grant, or we grow to 5 to 10 million. How are we going to look on our board and our finance committee? We're thinking ahead of that structurally so we can accommodate that growth in a planful way. So with that, I just wanted to speak about the organization, and then I'm going to start now and transition that to the actual the individuals that are going to be speaking with the various departments. And if you can switch that, Allie, that would be great. And we'll start off with Melina and Molly, and they will lead us off with what doesn't come as any surprise, one of the most important strategic initiatives, and that is our meetings and volunteer growth and retention and support. So thank you, Melina and Molly.
Thanks, Mark, and thanks everyone for being here. It's so great to see so many people. Allie, do you want to move to the next slide, please? All right, so I just want to take a minute, to talk about where we're at with our public meetings right now. Actually, this slide shows the last 3 years. So you'll see 2019, we had quite a few more local public meetings listed, well, public meetings in general. 2020, we saw a drop because of COVID, but not just COVID. So we saw a drop because we started removing meetings from our list that were international meetings that were held outside of the US and Canada, due to SRI managing those now. 2020, you'll see, 2021, you'll see that we started seeing an increase again. We're currently at 1,232 public meetings on our list. Next slide, please. With 2020 and COVID, we saw a transition to our local online meetings from face to face. What we're seeing so far this year is we're seeing still that they're about 50-50, close to that, staying very close, local, online, and face-to-face. Next slide.
Here we can see our growth between 2019 and 2020. We had a lot of meetings added to SROL, and 2020 was our big COVID increase for participation in SROL. So we're happy to see that year to date, October 31st, we're still increasing SROL meetings. If you could go next. And this slide combines both of our local area and SROL public meetings. Like Melina mentioned, the big decrease between 2019 and 2020 was with the international meetings going to SRI. But we're starting to regain a little bit of that growth back. Next, please.
This slide really will show you what Bill had mentioned about we have more meetings than we have facilitators. So looking at just this year alone, we have those 1,232 public meetings. We only have 1,179 volunteers running those 1,200 meetings. Next slide, please. So what are we doing about that? We're trying to provide more support in any way we can to all of our volunteers. That started with the rollout of Volunteer HQ this year, Volunteer Connection, which is that monthly newsletter y'all receive. The formation of the Meeting Growth and Volunteer Support Committee. That committee kind of helps guide what volunteers need and weighs in on decisions. And then one other thing we're doing, because we know that our meetings need to be open to the public, we are doing a full audit of our meeting list. We have so far completed 4 states in that audit. So any volunteers on here expect to be reached out to verify that your meetings are happening and that all the information is correct.
And SROL, I mentioned our meeting growth that happened, but a big part of that was expanding our diversity. So we saw diversity grow with college age, military veteran area started to include first responders, LGBTQ plus, and women's. Next, please.
So as a volunteer department, next year, some of our aspirations, the big one is more support for the volunteers. We want to do additional build outs to volunteer HQ to include more resources, more pages, more of everything. We want to start doing a coffee hour with Molly and I, where we have every other month, Molly and I sit down with our volunteers, much in a setting much like this, but more conversational, where we're having those conversations to hear what it is volunteers need. Looking at some continuing education opportunities, more communication with our trainees and training grads, monthly Q&A meetings. This is a big one with me and Katie from our training department, where we want to meet with trainees, answer some of their questions early on in their training, and then follow up with volunteers once they complete the training. Next slide, please.
We are hoping to continue looking at that meeting list, make sure it's staying up to date as possible for our participants. In SROL, we're continuing with our job description development so that new volunteers know what to expect and have some guidelines. And the meeting growth and volunteer support committee has made the recommendations for mentorship and a resource packet for our new or existing volunteers. So you can expect to see the mentorship roll out early 2022. Next, please. So I would like to introduce our outreach department. We have Mike Hooper as our state outreach director and Jessica Shapiro for our national outreach and advocacy.
Thank you, Melina. Good afternoon, everyone. Thank you again for being here today. We are very excited about being able to bring this information to you. Obviously, to go over everything that's been happening in the last year, we wouldn't have the time to do so. So what we'd like to do is outline what is new for outreach within Smart Recovery as an organization. For those that don't know, my position is the first of its kind within the organization as an outreach director, and we wanted to start in our home state here in Ohio. Some of those things that we are focusing on is to make sure that our program is known, that treatment facilities, community centers, and other organizations that are affiliated with addiction recovery and maladaptive disorder recovery are aware that Smart Recovery is here and we are available to help those in need. Ohio was listed as one of the top 5 states as related to addiction. We saw the highest overdose rate this state has ever seen last year. So efforts across the state have been dramatically increased to let people know about awareness of this program, including things such as VA hospitals and civilian hospitals, with our politicians in the State Department, as well as our partnerships in the Supreme Court, and universities and educational facilities. Our presentations range across the state. I have been all the way from the top of the states to the Great Lakes, all the way down to Cincinnati, making sure that whoever is interested in this program knows about it, and we are able to get these programs to them. Our reach span from the national office in Mentor, which is at the top of the state, like I mentioned, to some of the major metropolitan areas like Cleveland, Columbus, Cincinnati, Toledo, and beyond. We're moving far past into that with some of our partnerships that we're doing towards the out-of-state organizations as well. Next slide, please, Ellie. Some of our partnerships that we have been able to do and create some real cohesion with is Ohio Mental Health and Addiction Services, which works directly through the state to make sure that these services are available to facilities all across the Ohio. Peer recovery support is another big aspiration. As we know, peer supporters are a major aspect of the recovery process, and we are helping those who are interested in learning that to become trained as facilitators or in the program as well, to affiliate that within their curriculum. State psychiatric hospitals and civilian hospitals as well, as well as with the VA hospitals, as my connection as a veteran has been very promising and created some real assets within our recovery community. Our diversity has been expanding as well, making sure that we're working with low-income areas, minority communities, as well as rural areas. The LGBTQ Center in Cleveland, Ohio, was one of the first to help us broaden these horizons and the gaps that we were experiencing in different communities, and we are very, very proud of how far we've been able to go with that. Media broadcasts, podcasts, YouTube appearances, and webinars are some of the small things that I have been able to do as outreach director here in the state, and we continue this every single day. One of our models in outreach is that we don't take a day off. We are always here to make sure that the outreach is available for those who are willing to learn about this program. Next slide. With that, I'd like to pass to Jessica Shapiro, my counterpart in national outreach, and she can explain some of the steps we're taking across the country. Jessica.
Thanks, Mike. So at a national level, what we're doing is taking a lot of the work that Mike's done here in the state of Ohio and expanding that. We're excited that coming into 2022, we're focusing on 5 main states as part of our state expansion: Maryland, Michigan, New Hampshire, Pennsylvania, and West Virginia. We've also grown our relationship with the Fletcher Group to help bring the programming into the rural communities. And we're working to build those same relationships with facilities and different program partnerships nationally. The other thing that we're touching on now more with state and federal levels is the grants and the SAMHSA programs, as well as looking at grant opportunities with nonprofits and other community organizations. So that way we can help to expand the footprint that we have nationally. And with that, I will pass it off to Christy to talk about our training.
Hi, everyone. Okay, so I just wanted to talk to you a little bit about some of our key accomplishments this year. This is exciting, but we have, despite what we've been going through with COVID, we have had a record number of Zoom trainings and the income generated from those trainings this year. Some of you may be familiar with our on-site training, but because of COVID, we had to transition those trainings to Zoom. So that has just flourished. We also received our NADAC renewal, so we're able to offer continuing education on many of our training programs. We also added continuing education credits for several of our courses. Those would be our Successful Life Skills 1-day program or course for the Zoom or on-site training. Also for the Inside Out training that we offer through Zoom or on-site. Next slide. This is just a snapshot of the individuals who have taken our training both online and through Zoom over the last few years. You can see the growth pretty much, well, definitely through Zoom over the last few years. That's been significant. And through online, we are on pace to have the same number of individuals complete our training through the end of this year, which is right around 280. That will have been consistent. Again, some of the new things looking ahead to 2022, our board has created a training and education task force. They're going to be looking at things like evaluating some of our material and our training and deciding what things to update. And this will include individuals such as very experienced facilitators, peer facilitators, members with expertise in curriculum design and psychotherapy. So you'll hear more about that later. We're also going to be creating some new training for our facilitators, which is really cool because we've heard that you want continuing education for yourselves as facilitators, and this is going to be on motivational interviewing. We're also going to be offering new team training for our facilitators and additional new Inside Out training. The motivational interviewing will probably take place on Zoom for our facilitators, and the team training that may be online. That's some of the discussion that we've been having. We also have developed some training for people who are incarcerated. so they can take the training while incarcerated, and it can be overseen by some of the personnel in the correctional facility. Next slide. And next you'll hear from Sean Thomas, who is going to talk to you about our information systems and technology.
Thank you, Christy, and hello, everyone. I wanted to start just by kind of reflecting on just how large of a footprint Smart Recovery has online. And I have to remind myself of this whenever I feel like, oh, I just wish we were moving a little bit faster sometimes on certain individual pieces of this puzzle. That really, for a small organization and with the help of our volunteers, we have this huge footprint, like just an outsized footprint. And with that, if we go to the next slide, that does bring some challenges. In 2021, we were affected, and some of you probably saw this. We were affected by a big new wave of bot attacks that kind of were just like spreading across the web. So our YouTube channel was affected, our Canada Shop and different websites were affected. So, but again, with the help with a lot of people and some long hours, we were able to respond to those and secure those better than they were before. That's going to be some of what you see ongoing in 2022. Certainly the age of some of our sites and systems, folks know all too well that can slow us down too, where we're just dealing with some older technology, and we are now working more aggressively to modernize things. And you'll see some of that, like the new meeting finder that we're going to talk about. Of course, just like every group in here, people wear different hats and we've got limited resources, but we do the best we can. And again, with the support of the volunteers makes all the difference. It really lets us stretch and do more. If we go next, despite these challenges, we had some real serious accomplishments in 2021 with VRF and Volunteer HQ, some website enhancements, the meeting finder just being one of them. The mobile app, we had hoped to get it out just a little bit earlier, but again, some of those challenges step in and kind of steal some of our time. But that is coming, it's almost done. You'll see a little bit on this. We have simplified and lowered some of the costs. You don't necessarily see this, but just helping the organization get information more quickly and with less manual effort on, hey, what is our public meeting count at the end of each month? What is the number of facilitators? Hey, we don't like how that's not lining up. Let's take some action to make things better. If we keep going. So just to highlight a couple of the accomplishments. So we did launch just last week, in fact, the new local meeting finder. We were up 42% in terms of page views on the launch day. Since then, we are now at about 11,000 page views. So the usage has already doubled over the old meeting finder. A lot of the feedback that we saw in folks' registrations was about the ease of use and the user experience in our online experiences. And we are really taking that to heart, where this, for example, was really designed from the get-go to be a really easy to use experience, especially mostly for people in early recovery, where life is already hard and the last thing you need is some technology in front of you making things even more difficult. And so that is something we are really taking to heart as we go through and roll out new updated experiences for folks. So if you haven't seen this, this is now linked on the Smart homepage. If you click on Find a Local Meeting, it'll take you here, or you can go directly to meetings.smartrecovery.org. Please fill out the contact us, give us feedback, positive, constructive, you name it. We love to see it. So please give it a shot. Next, Sally, thank you. We have been getting some feedback, so excellent. Mostly, almost, I would say about 99% is like this. Folks are just super thankful to see something that's easier to use than what we had before. So thank you, Ali. Next. The mobile app, it's so close, and I'm cheating a little bit by calling it an accomplishment because it's not in your hands yet, but I really wanted to recognize the effort of the team that has gotten us this far, and it's so close. We're going to be launching in January. The beta, which was supposed to start actually in November, is going to start next week. So you will be seeing that. Just a quick screenshot. Again, part of ease of use is not being confused about what you see on your phone versus what you see on your computer. So again, the finding a meeting experience is the same Smart Finder that now you use on your computer. And with that, we'll talk just real quick about 2022. So those ongoing IT and website security improvements. So that's a big deal in today's day and age. We've got that big footprint, which means that's a lot of surface area for bots and script kiddies, you name it, to attack. And it's not that we are being targeted purposely or specifically. It's just that we are out there. And so if things are not secure, things will find a way in. The mobile app will launch early in the new year. We do see some enhanced user experiences coming for our websites. Again, that internal reporting, making more and more of that automated, so staff are able to better help our participants and support our volunteers instead of doing a whole bunch of manual repetitive work month in, month out to produce those numbers. And just lastly, one thing I know a lot of you are very familiar with, having all these different accounts with us. I feel it as a participant and as a meeting facilitator myself, but we will be starting on the road towards having single SMART accounts for everything that you do with SMART. So you do not have to have all these different accounts and remember different usernames and passwords. It will not all be done in 2022, but we're going to get started. With that, thank you. We're going to be handing it over now to Anna Marie and Ted for marketing communications.
Hi, everyone. First of all, I just want to say thanks to Sean. Everyone in national office has been so excited to have him on board because we have such a big technology footprint. He's been just doing such a great job at pulling everything together and making sense of all of it for us. And so that's my shameless plug of just saying, we love you, Sean. Thanks for all you're doing. All right. So marketing is a big animal that touches a lot of things at Smart Recovery. And so we've been very, very busy over this last year, supporting just a whole lot of stuff. We had this new brand rolled out from Smart Recovery International. We've been rebranding things over the course of the year, websites, outreach materials, things like that. Obviously, we work on a lot of our content, blogs, videos, podcasts, emails, e-newsletters, social media. We do work very closely with Sean and the rest of our technology arm on our websites. We're doing a lot of things like media outreach, advertising. We're supporting our outreach team, Mike and Jessica. And we are also, working very hard on our fundraising and events. So this year we did a lot of those things. I'll talk a little bit more about that in a second. So if we just kind of scroll a little quickly through, you guys can just start to get a picture of this new brand look and feel that's coming across everything. We are a national nonprofit, and I believe that we are really starting to look like that across all of our things now. In the coming year, you'll start to see some of this rolled out a bit more for your use. Right now, we've been working on that behind the scenes for our use, and we're really excited to get these in your hands as part of your outreach in your local communities too. So, this year, one of the things that I think I've heard a lot of people say that they love is the updated toolbox that we got up on the website, having the fillable PDFs, having them rebranded, and just kind of like a fresh look and feel to all of them. We did launch the regular toolbox, and we also just recently launched a family and friends version of that too. You can find that on the toolbox page of the website. As I mentioned, fundraisers and events, and this year we launched our Insiders Plus program. It was a big undertaking. We're very excited about the potential of that. Thanks to all of you who have joined. We just helped with our recent conference, and that was a great success. We also launched a new fundraiser this year called Pathways to Recovery. And this was a virtual event. A lot of things are virtual right now due to COVID. We're really looking forward to hopefully building this event in the future so that there are local community events. So maybe Loretta is someone who might have a local event in her community. And so people could actually come and walk together, kind of similar to like an American Heart Association walk or something like that. So we're excited about the potential for that. We kicked off a lot of really good and exciting things this year. And we kind of feel like we scratched the surface, and we're really, really excited about the potential of all of them. So looking ahead at next year, a really big and continued support for our volunteers. I mentioned all those marketing materials. We're talking a lot about how we can make those available to our volunteers so that they can use them in their local communities to help support the outreach that we're all doing on behalf of Smart Recovery. Melina mentioned increased events and communication with our volunteers. You know, obviously they work on the content of that. We work on the delivery of it. We work very closely. And so we're, you know, a big part of what we'll be doing collectively is our communication and events with our volunteers. We are working on a national communications campaign with a national PR firm. And so you guys will start to hear about more about that. I know there were some comments in the registration form about people wanting to see us more in the news and things like that. I promise you, we're working on it, and it's something that will be coming. Our websites, Sean made a couple mentions about that. We have a big focus on improving our overall user experience. And so across all of our websites, making some improvements so that people who are in early recovery can find the information that they need sooner. And we hear you, we know that some of those things have been frustrating, and we really do want to make some big improvements to that. Yeah, and then just ongoing, you know, fundraising and events, Pathways to Recovery, I already talked a little bit about that. But then this year, we also will be supporting a Smart Recovery International event called Take On Addiction. And some more information will be coming out soon about that. So pass it over to Ted, our video extraordinaire, and he'll talk a little bit about our YouTube efforts.
Thanks, Anna Marie. Hi, everyone. I'm so happy to be here. Well, good news. We just passed 14,000 subscribers, which is awesome. We retain a really great 99.8% like rate, which is phenomenal for any YouTube channel. It's actually one of the higher ones that I've ever seen of any YouTube channel. We get a lot of positive comments as well, and I'd like to thank all of you in the community for those comments. You know, some people have actually reached out and said that I've changed their lives. One gentleman actually said that he watched one of those tips and tools episodes and it saved his lives. I can't take credit for that. Smart has to take the credit for that. I'm just the messenger. But these videos are really helpful, and they really do help us engage with a larger community. So I thank you for watching them and being part of those, and for your comments about them. Tips and tools videos are also being used by a lot of our facilitators. And I think it's up to like hundreds now are using them in actual meetings as ways to complement the meeting itself. So that's really encouraging. So I really love that, and I want to continue supporting that effort. And now there's a new DVD compilation on sale now, which is fun. So if somebody would like to actually, you know, play the DVD on a big screen, or maybe they just don't have a very good internet connection, you can now go to Tips and Tools, the DVD, or tipsandtoolsdvd.com, and buy it, which will just lead you right to the bookstore. And also, you know, if you do have comments or concerns about our content, you know, please do, if you could go back just one, please do email us at tipsandtools@smartrecovery.org. You know, content is reflective of reality, but it's also reflective of our values and what we hold in terms of smart technology. We don't always get it right. We're not trying to be perfect. We just strive for, you know, progress in what we're trying to do. So, you know, just like there's multiple pathways to recovery, there's multiple pathways about recovery. So we really like to open up a conversation, and we invite you to send your comments anytime you see something that you might want to address with us. So if you go to our YouTube channel growth, it's been really phenomenal on the next screen. I'm very encouraged by this. Our channel has gone up significantly in terms of video views. They've actually gone up around a total of 230% over the last 4 years, from 2021 to 2018. So that's really encouraging. If you go to the next slide also. Also, in terms of subscribers added, it's also increased. We're getting like 200 to 300 to 400 new subscribers a month. The 2021 metric would have been higher if it had not been for that IT glitch that we had. But even though that happened, we've still been able to add 355% increase in terms of subscribers. So a note to you, like, subscribe, hit the notification bell, and encourage your friends to do that as well, because that really helps build a community, and that's an asset that we can then use to leverage smart recovery. Then now, in terms of new content, I'm very excited that we're going to be starting the Tips and Tools Family and Friends Edition episodes. Same sort of format that we have for Tips and Tools, a brand new host. That host might actually be on this call today, but I'm not going to try to out that person right now, but that's a surprise that's coming up. a fresh new face, a fresh new perspective about something that's very important. We also have a new series called Recovery Goes Global, which will be a monthly or bi-monthly series, which is about what's happening in these crazy international territories that are really killing it in terms of like starting meetings and doing the work of smart recovery. We're doing some collaborations with other content creators to push in more content to our pipeline. We're going to do more videos subtitled in more languages to reach out to more people. We've done Russian, we've done Swedish, we've done Spanish. We have videos and more videos in Spanish. And we're going to start doing vlogs and vodcasts, which are, instead of just doing a podcast, we're actually going to tape it in video. So it's available as a vodcast, as an actual interview on YouTube visually with our host, Luke Frazier, who's terrific. And then also that'll be available also as a podcast. So you can watch those interviews that he does that are so great and so informative on both formats. And that's all. And thank you for all your support.
Thank you, Ted, and thank you for all of the staff and the team that has presented that information. I will say this: there are so many more people behind those individuals that make all of this happen, and we'd like to believe that we are as much of a team as we are a family, and our family is a fairly large when we look at the SMART community and all of you as part of that family. We feel the pain and we feel the suffering that a lot of our participants go through. We live that as part of a team. We have family members, we have friends, we have individuals that experience this amongst our own family. So quite literally, we are part of our part of the community when we try to do what we do to help participants and our volunteers. This is just a real brief slide to show you that in the 3-year period that we have been working together, that we have grown. And what that financial growth represents is a substantial amount of reasons why we've been able to expand the staff into the areas that we have. The board has worked with us, the finance committee has worked with us, and because of the strategic initiatives of the financial sustainability group, because of the efforts of the team, we have been able to increase our donations, our general program revenues, and quite literally our grants. And that has made a lot of things happen and possible. And I can't tell you how much we appreciate that. So I don't want to go into the details around that, but again, wanted you to see that there is a growth to the efforts, and as a result of that, we've been able to do more with what we're doing. We have the training revenues, and again, I'm just showing you that training is an important part of our revenue stream. So when we talk about financial sustainability, it's building multiple and diverse revenue streams. Training is one of them. And that has been something that we're going to continue to build out. It has a financial impact and it has a direct mission impact when we work with our treatment professionals and our volunteers and offer more and more along the lines of what they need to be successful at what they do. And then another one that is our revenue stream is our bookshop. And it has grown equally well, even despite the COVID curves. And we had that slight decline. The overall progression of growth has been there with us. And we're continuing to add more and more material and publications and continuing to build out the likability and usability of our bookshop. And then last, our total income in general has grown very well. And if you look at the next slide, it has allowed us to look at and also build our investment. And those investments are important to us in building the ability to handle when a crisis happens or when we want to invest in additional staff or projects. So quite literally, because of the stewardship of the board and the finance committee, we've been able to create that investment curve that is really reflective of also building up our own reserves as an organization. So all of that is meant to show you that we're reinvesting, we're building and growing, not only in our mission impact, our staffing that affects that mission impact, but also in the revenue that makes all of that happen. And that gives us a lot of momentum. And I'm going to kind of just really quickly say a lot of these things have been spoken about already. If you move on to the next slide, these things have already been mentioned. So I'm not going to go too deep into this because of time. We want to return some time to our question and answers. and quite literally, we are continuing, though, to become more strategic in our growth. We've been organic in somewhat of a nature, but with our communications effort and our planned efforts, we're going to expand our national branding and communication efforts. We're going to continue to expand our technology. These are things that have been brought out and already discussed. So with that in mind, I want to just close with this portion.
I always knew that smart recovery was needed, and I now know that hundreds of thousands of people now around the world have come to a meeting, learned something, had a sense of hope, and have gone forward. And sometimes we never see them again. Sometimes they stay around for a long time.
I had the thought that this program is going to change the world. I told no one about it because I probably would have been incarcerated for a while with making such an insane statement. But as things turned out, it was absolutely true. It predicted what happened. Gradually, very gradually, the program gained in numbers of meetings and in prestige, went through a number of cycles, lived through a number of calamities.
There have been some scary moments in smart recovery. One of them was in the 90s. I don't remember which year. It looked like we were going to go out of business because we were out of money. It does take some money to run an organization like this, even the bare bones operation we had then. And a donor stepped up and gave us a significant sum of money. And we were able to carry on until we got another big donation a few years later, and that really allowed us to move forward. So it's not just hard work, it is also some money. We don't need a huge amount, but we got what we needed. So it was really exciting to see us be able to continue, and I think we're looking strong now.
About 2010, it began to go exponential rather than a linear growth pattern. And as most of you know, by the beginning of 2020, before COVID hit, we had 2,300 meetings every week in the United States and about 3,200 around the world in 30 countries.
I remember the year, it was sometime in the early 2000s, and we opened meetings in Vietnam. And I remember that old expression about the British Empire, the sun never sets on smart recovery. And now we are headed to the time when every town and hamlet eventually around the world will have smart recovery in it. We're on the way. I hope to live long enough to see a good portion of it. Thank you so much for all you've done. You've seen today all the progress we've made in 27 years, in another 27 years. Who knows where we'll be? I'm really excited. Thank you for being here.
I want to thank all of you for your enthusiastic participation in our program because, as you all know, probably 97% of the work in the organization is done by volunteers. And I want to thank everyone for their dedication.
We have a positive impact on everybody who shows up, and I'm so proud of everybody who's volunteered. Now thousands and thousands of volunteers over the years to make this happen and to keep us growing.
We have some questions and answers, and I just wanted to again say before all of you depart or leave us, but thank you so very much for being the people that you are, helping the individuals that you do through your meetings and through your overall contributions of your time and energy, and including your financial support. So thank you so much. I also want to say with all of you, you guys are really part of what puts the town hall in our intended town hall meeting. So we want to continue to encourage questions and improve this as we go forward. I had a question that was addressed related to handbooks and in general, our family and friends and related things. I thought maybe Bill, if you, as you are leading the training and education initiative as we roll into 2022, you may want to be able to touch on that for the community.
Sure. Actually, I think there's an update to the Family and Friends handbook is nearing completion. We're looking at all our educational materials as well as our overall training program. And obviously, we need to update it with tools and principles from some of the newer therapies, but also we need to improve it so that it generates more facilitators. And that's just not training and materials, it's skill building. We're finding, and this is happening with Smart around the world, people who take our facilitator training don't always become facilitators. In fact, only like 10 to 20% become facilitators. So we need to reorient that program so those who want to become facilitators have a track where they can get into meetings and actually do the facilitating. Some don't take the training for that purpose. Quite a few don't. And we should offer educational opportunities for them, but we need to get our training effective for those who want to get into meetings and help us with our growth in that way.
Thank you, Bill. We also have a question related to our Latino community. And Ted, if you would like to speak on the work that we've done in that area, that would be awesome.
Gracias, Mark. Estoy encantado de estar aquí.
De nada, de nada.
De nada, de nada. Yes, well, we have a great new landing page for Spanish. We have meetings that we're growing. We have access to meetings. We have a WhatsApp group for people who want to go to meetings. We started a new meeting in Portuguese. That's not Hispanic, but still it's Latin America. And also we have all those tips and tools episodes that have been done in Spanish. We're going to do more this year. We have a Spanish language YouTube channel. And we're also going to look into the ability of, there's a lot of other content that we could just put Spanish subtitles on to expand reach into that community. So, and then we're also going to be working with Gerardo Matamoros. I don't know if you guys know Gerardo G. To many of us, who's done a phenomenal job and is with the volunteer spirit and the abilities that he brings to this enterprise is just amazing. So shout out to G, and there's more stuff coming, more outreach and more people. And we're also setting up a scholarship fund to help fund the free training of individuals who would commit to start meetings in Spanish so they can take the training for free.
Thank you so much.
I'll also add just a bit to that, if you would let me. We also have the Family and Friends Handbook, which is translated into Spanish. So we are putting the final touches on that, and that will be available in our bookshop sometime in the near future, as soon as we get that completed. So we will, of course, let everybody know. And we also have the 3rd edition of the Smart Recovery Handbook, also translated. It needed to be updated just slightly, so that will also be swapped out and available soon. So.
Thank you. And I know as part of our grant funding, we've also continued to focus on additional diversity and inclusion areas anywhere we can. Christy has been working with the Somalian community to try to develop something for that particular aspect of our community in Ohio, which we then would want to make that even on a national level. But there's definitely focused an interest of trying to expand our Hispanic community because it's a fairly large speaking part of our population. So we continue to work on that. The Family and Friends is going to continue to develop, as is the handbooks. But I think Christy alluded that she will try to reach out to Sandy Yu and some others about being involved in the review process, which is our interest as well. And then there are our continued focus on the language barriers and the hearing and seeing and eyesight barriers as we continue to work on bringing the technology and that to our meetings and our handbooks and our Zoom meetings. We will continue to make improvements in that area as well. But we're doing our very best to continue to expand our general accessibility in general, so everywhere we can. I know there was other questions, and I want to see if I missed anything. And if anybody else has one, feel free to send it. Henry had suggested some ideas about trying to give some of the facilitators funding back for the training that they received based upon running meetings. I can promise you that we will be looking at everything we can to try to make that happen if we could possibly do that through our financial resources, Henry. Again, these are all good ideas that we will be bringing forward to our strategic planning committees as well as to our operational base. So thank you for sharing that. And then I think, let me see if I'm looking at through the Q&A here, questions. We talked about the accessibilities, and there was a discussion about Portuguese. I'm not sure what that will be, but I know that there are some nuances of languages for sure. So Ted, you want to speak about that if you can?
Yes, we have a wonderful facilitator and Smart Ambassador International, Marcos de Medeiros in Brazil, who's actively recruiting individuals to be smart recovery facilitators. And he recruited a facilitator based in Boston who speaks Portuguese. She's from Brazil, but she is a clinician in Boston. So we're really trying to expand the reach. You know, as you know, Brazil is a vast country. I mean, it has, hundreds of millions of people. And it a lot of times gets forgotten in terms of like Latin America because we concentrate on Spanish language only, but that is a huge population that needs help. And also the connection between Brazil, Portuguese, and Portugal is interesting because Portugal has a very modern approach to treatment and criminalization and decriminalization of drugs. So it's a very interesting connection between those two. If you know, Portugal is one of those countries that has decriminalized drugs and has put all of the resources that they would have spent on prison sentences into rehabilitation and recovery. And it's paid off handsomely. Yes,
so I'm going to, in lieu of, I'm trying to keep up with the Q&As. It does speak, Sandy asked a question about gambling. Even though we have an introductory mention of gambling, you may need to address the fact that the website is misleading if there are no meetings focused on gambling. And again, that is good feedback, Sandy, and I will turn that over to our team for us to assess, and maybe after the webinar, we can redirect a response to that in particular. So let us do some analytics work on that, and we will get back to you on a response to that.
Do you mean, if I can just clarify, do you mean that you don't see any specialized meetings on gambling, Sandy? I am aware of one that is taking place, but it may not be, noted. It is a private meeting. And I just, for sharing purposes, I would be happy to share how that's going if it's something that you would like more information on. But we can touch base offline.
Sorry, Christy. I wanted to add that we have a maladaptive behavior activity focused meeting in SROL that would relate to that topic as well.
Thank you so much for Molly, you and Christy responding to that. But we could circle back around on that with a little bit more in-depth analysis after we look at some of the information that we have. So thank you. Again, from a perspective of just acknowledgement, I just can't, again, tell you how much we appreciate you joining us. If you feel like after the fact you'd like to send us any inputs, thoughts, and suggestions about future town halls, we'd be very happy to do that. Ted, I saw you raise something. I didn't read it. So quite literally, if you have anything directed, we are very all ears for what you might have to say, feedback, and we want to continue to enhance the town halls to increase value to you. So, Bill, would you like to say anything in closing as we work to close down the webinar?
I should have prepared something, but no. Well, I wish you all a happy holiday, and I thank you for your ongoing commitment to SMART. Obviously, we wouldn't be where we are without the work that you're doing, and continue to interact with us and send us your suggestions. And as we go forward with many of these initiatives, we're interested in collaborating with anyone who wants to get involved. I mean, training and education in particular is one that I'm very focused on, and we could use help on making sure that we get that right. We're very active in the government arena. Something we don't talk about very often, but we're trying to raise more visibility, as well as get appropriations for SMART, which is something that we're hoping to succeed with in the year to come. Let's see, diversity is huge. That's something we need to focus on at all levels, particularly at the local level as well as nationally. And we appreciate everyone who's helping us with that.
Bill, we may not have mentioned the Fletcher Group initiative, but that might be worthwhile to outline in case the team here has not been aware of it. But the Fletcher Group is partnered with Smart Recovery in what they call a recovery for rural county-based recovery homes. And that is a program that we're very pleased to be launching with them. I believe we have launched about under 10 of them, but that'll be going throughout the year with a goal of trying to reach 100 of those recovery homes in the course of that year. And these are using the successful life skills program, using our smart volunteers, not only to start and launch those meetings in a 12-week structured program, but to allow their staff to continue to run smart meetings after the 12-week period is done. So that to us is a very exciting linkage for our mission, as well as to reach into an area that really does need the support, which is a rural area. So that's that. Anna Marie just shared a link in case you have not seen the movie Authentics, which we were featured in. We were very proud to be featured in with that. We received grant funding to create this, and we were very proud of it. We don't show it often enough, but thank you, Anna Marie, for sharing that with the team here. But other than that, I just want again to close this out and say thank you all. We'll look forward to hearing more from you, as well as seeing you again. And thank you again for all you do for Smart Recovery.